is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the U.S. government. May God be with you all.
Howdy, howdy. A little bit late on the draw there. Trying to... Hang on. Woo! I need... Pardon me, I need a do-over. Well, it's been a little while. It's me again, Margaret. I thought the Purge intro was fitting. Things are a little bit off the hook. And so I thought it might be a good time to come back. I couldn't tell you whether it's going to be for a long period or not. I don't know. I'm letting the spirit lead. Leo, you got the reference. So, as you know, there's just a little election coming up. It's not really a big deal. And we have a boatload of other issues that are going on at the same time. And I find a lot of it extremely concerning. So while we have this battle, if you will, going on here in the U.S. stateside for this election, we are sending tons and tons and tons of military equipment and supplies abroad, both to the Middle East and to Europe. Tons. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching this timeline play out. Of course, right now it's October 29th. And it's got me concerned. I firmly believe that Trump has this, in reality, has this hands down. What I look at, and what I think a lot of other people are looking at as well, is this whole Trump administration that he's putting together it's a dream come true. It's the most incredible thing politically that I have seen in my entire lifetime. It is something that I have been screaming for as long as I can remember. I can go back to, I do remember a lot of the stuff that was going on politically. Not as much as I'd like to remember, but I do remember, the whole Bill Clinton thing. I remember that fairly well. And I even remember, prior to that, I even remember the Reagan years a bit. And I have never seen anything like this ever. And back even when I was, I want to say grade school, I was calling out politicians and government for what I saw even as a child, and that was that the people that they were putting in charge of the different positions really were not the people you would want to put in charge of those positions. It made no sense. And so I sat and I watched all these years since, and they put the most screwed up people in positions of power. When, you would be better served to have a doctor in charge of a group of people. They had lawyers in charge of them, right? And almost everything was built around legalese and lawyers and all of that. And everything. It became, pardon the language, but it became a shit show. Everything. And we've remained in that same shit show, and it's snowballed, right? And it's gotten to the point now to where the people that are in charge of the health of this nation are people that shouldn't be in charge of their own health. And I mean that. Those I'm not just spitting words out of my mouth. I mean that. It is mind-blowing to me, everything that's gone on in this nation. I sit back, I think about Michelle Obama taking all of the nutrition out of the school. All the nutrition, stripping it right out of the lunches. And calling that progress. No, that's what cults do. Cults malnourish their people. And I see all this stuff happening, and it never made any sense. And again, ever since grade school, I was asking what I thought was the obvious. Why are they putting all of these wrong people in place? Well, I'm looking at our current situation, and what I see is an opportunity of a lifetime. And, I want to encourage people, and you never hear me say this stuff, and anybody that's been around for a while knows I do not say this, but get out and vote. Vote early. Do not be standing in line on election day. I know Red Team really likes to put in their ballot on election day, but I've got a really bad feeling about election day. And I just think it would be wiser and safer to put the ballots in ahead of time and go from there. I mean, hopefully all of this election stuff will get squared away during the next administration, and we can get some good solid rules about elections and get rid of a lot of the nonsense that's going on, allowed to go on even for this election, which should never be allowed to go on. We'll see what happens. Like I tell people, the thing to aim for is making this too big to fix, right? If you can make sure that he gets enough votes that there's no way Kamala can catch up, and if he wins by electoral and popular vote, then what does Blue Team have to say? Now, there's a lot of stuff going on. They had some exercises that happened at the White House last night that definitely raises eyebrows. I've heard several different explanations as to what in particular those drills were about. Of course, some people saying they've never done this before, it's unprecedented, and others are saying this is like the third year that they've done this. So, whichever one is true, I'm not positive. But they are most certainly putting up, barriers and stuff around considerable area, actually, in D.C. Now, there's I believe a rally tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I agree, Leo, those helicopters look suspect. I agree. The whole damn thing is suspect to me. Imagine this. And I'm not playing the games of trying to put out scenarios and tell you why you should be prepared. No. I just want you to fathom something for a moment. If there's this huge red wave, right? Trump takes office and the House and the Senate are lined with red. Wouldn't that be insane if there was a mass casualty event at the Capitol building? Just, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. We're talking about a former president, presidential nominee, possibly presidential frontrunner, that has had 2 attempts on his life. I certainly don't think it's going to stop if he gets in office. I would tell everybody to make sure that you're good to go. I would you know how we have the buy a helmet and put on the damn helmet alert statuses here? I honestly would put on the damn helmet through the election, day before, day of, day after. At least put it on, right? Be ready. Be ready. It's likely to get insane. So a couple other things I do want to mention. I know that chances are very likely, if you know of this channel, you know of BC Blade's channel. I'm sure most of you already know that he has passed away. I just wanted to make note of that. It's my mornings are pretty solemn, because that is the first thing that I would do. I would get up in the mornings, I'd come in here, get everything fired up, and I'd play kind of a, I'm going to say random video. It'd be a video from the channels I'm subscribed to. I would just throw on a random video while I was in there getting the coffee started and all that stuff, and then when the coffee would get finished, which, by the way, I've got a full cup here, so I'm trying not to spill it. I drink out of a BC Truck mug. He sent me this either 2016 or 2017, one of the two. We were still living in Mount Vernon at the time, so. And I've used that mug every day since. And I almost use this knife every day. I say almost because some days I don't, but there's a lot. Any day that we have potatoes, because I make homemade mashed potatoes, homemade french fries, yada yada. So anytime we have potato, which is nearly daily, I use this knife to cut the potatoes. So it gets used almost daily. And I tell you what, I love it. I love that knife. So the added thing with that is it was like the handles are spalted hackberry, and they were actually, it was a tree that he had cut down, and so not only did he make the knife, but the handle wood came from him. It's not handle wood that he just ordered or whatever. He actually sent the wood off to be stabilized, and so that's kind of cool. But unfortunately, it's passed on, and like I say, the mornings are pretty solemn now. I didn't finish what I was gonna. I'd put on just kind of a random video from my list, and then and after I got my coffee and sat down and so I could pay attention, then I would put on BC's video. And so his video was typically the second one I watched every morning, and that was because the first one was just noise in the background while I was getting coffee started. Oh, anyway, other than that, my health's not so good. I'm really starting to have a lot more major issues with my joints. For about 4 days, I couldn't even really raise my arms. It hurt so bad. My joints were just so swollen and everything just popped. It was terrible. Like my shoulders, and I've never really had that much of an issue with my shoulders. So that's not good. And I'm pretty much always exhausted at this point. A lot of days I wind up at least conking out for just a little bit of a nap, because I don't really have a choice. So it is what it is. But I will do what I can to be here, at least until we get past this stuff, because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Like I said, I mentioned about all the supplies and all of that going to the Middle East, going to Europe. We've got that going on. Of course, the presidential election going on, and all kinds of stuff. And I'm gonna mention something that many may be unaware of that's going on. But there could be something kind of cooking up with the Bundy family. I would urge you to go to Ammon Bundy's YouTube channel, and that will guide you around to the other places. So, and I don't remember the names off the top of my head, so I'm not going to even try. But the long and short of it is, there was somebody that I guess filed a lawsuit against the state of Nevada, and it's something claiming, and I'm going to get it wrong, I promise you, but it's something claiming that land that the state acquired was done so fraudulently, something to that effect, and we're talking like 20% of Nevada. And so there was a gentleman that I believe had started to actually sue Nevada, and that gentleman passed away mysteriously. Surprise, surprise, huh? So, from what I gather from the other video I had watched, which you'll get from watching Ammon Bundy's video, he'll provide the other video. It's a documentary. I think I got a copy of it, actually. Yeah. Look for a documentary. It's free and don't cost you to watch, called Bundy versus Deep State. Bundy versus Deep State. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'll give you a link. And it was popped up. Hang on. I had it popped. I saw it pop up, and I clicked the stupid thing, and it took it away. Okay, so let me give you this link in the chat. And this is a link to the documentary Bundy versus Deep State. So you can watch it yourself, because I'm going to butcher it if I try to remember all of it. But essentially, in this guy's honor, this gentleman's honor, the Cliven is going to continue on this lawsuit or this case, however you term it correctly. So basically, I guess Cliven Bundy's like suing for 20% of Nevada. So it might be something to keep an eye on, because typically, from my experiences, when the Bundys say they're going to do something, they damn well do it. So, might be something to keep an eye on. Trying to think. What all else? I mean, the news is just insane. I mean, absolutely insane. Across the board. One thing I wanted to mention was McDonald's. Right? Found this very interesting. So, of course, you've heard about the big McDonald's debacle, to where Kamala says she worked there. Nobody can find any proof that she worked there, yada, yada. Trump actually went there and worked there 15 minutes longer than Kamala ever has. And so he learned how to make some french fries and all that, yada, yada. And I'll be damned if what happens, oh, there's a big E. coli breakout, right? Somebody dies, and, I believe there was only one person that died at this point, but a lot of people were made sick, and we're talking a span of, I don't remember how many states, a lot of states, right? And this happened right after McDonald's kind of nonchalantly dissed Kamala, right? They didn't just flat out, straight out do it, but come on. And then, lo and behold, I think it was E. coli. I know there's been a big listeria issue too, and I don't know, it's insane. It is absolutely insane. The news has been off the charts, not getting any better. And I really do think that leading up to this election, we could see things get really stupid. So I think it's important for people to at least be ready. Right? Have your preps ready. I know I meant to do it earlier, forgot to do it. I'm going to put a hook up. We've got damn it, what do they call that? The ceiling that goes up to the point, essentially. Damn it. Is it not a gable? I can't think of the name of the damn thing. Anyway, I'm not a construction dude. But anyway, our ceiling's high, and so I'm going to put a hook up there so that I can hang my Slim Jim J pole from it, and see if it does any better from other places. Oh yeah, I saw that Tim Pool video about that ad she put out. Yeah, it's crazy. Now I guess somebody superimposed Kamala's picture over a picture of a woman that passed from cancer, and said that was a picture from her working there way back when or whatever. It's nuts. It is truly nuts. I don't know. I really hope that Blue Team doesn't play games with this election, and we know they're going to. I just hope they don't succeed. I'll tell you what, when I look past the election, when I try to look past the election, everything's I can't see nothing. It seemed, and when I say that, there's such stark differences as to pardon me, the direction that this nation's going to immediately go after the election. Because if Kamala gets in, every single evil thing that they could ever dream up is going to get shoved through fast as they can sign the papers. You can damn well bet that. Trump gets in, you are going to have so many different corporations and stuff like that, I really do think, are going to try to go against him. Others, maybe not, and I could be totally wrong on that. You've got individuals like Bezos that seems to be kind of trying to pull back against the pro-blue, anti-red sentiment. And, there's speculation thinking that that's because he doesn't want any issues from the government if Trump wins. I don't know. It's still, I just hope the blue team doesn't fix it or try to fix it, because I don't think that conservatives / Republicans, I don't think that they're going to sit still for a second time of it happening. I don't think they're going to sit still, and I don't expect them to. I really don't. You know the old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We may see that come to light if they pull those games this time around. But I have a sneaky suspicion that he is going to absolutely swamp the vote. And the reason being is I really do feel that the last election, that there were probably a fair number of conservatives, Republicans, what have you, Trump voters, that stayed home because he's got this in the bag. I really firmly believe that. And I do believe that those individuals are going to make damn sure to cast their ballot this time. And then we've got, in my opinion, a lot of independents and a fair amount of Democrats that are actually going to jump on over and vote for Trump in this election. And the reason being is because of the people that Trump's aligned with for his administration. It's a dream team. I mean, it is an absolute dream team. And I really do hope that the election goes smoothly. He gets elected. Everybody gets in place. And they get to work. I really do think that we can see a lot of good come from that. I have never in my life supported a political team, if you will, as much as I do this team right now, that Trump and the people that he's intending to put in place. It's incredible. Now, don't for a second believe that I'm blinded and I'm going to close my eyes and no. It's not how I work. But I am very impressed. I must say that at first I didn't like, when I first saw J.D. Vance and stuff, I didn't like him. Not even a little bit. And then I heard him speak and was pretty impressed. And so then I turned around and I watched his movie. And he seems like a good fit. He really seems like a good fit. Trump himself has backed away from the rhetoric a little bit. And that was, really, that was my only issue that I had with Trump, really, for the most part, other than his stance he took against firearms, which I hear, and I believe, I believe that he learned from that, and such things won't even come close to happening again. But, I won't be closing my eyes, that's for sure. And I'll hold his feet to the fire, just like I would anybody else. That's what we are all supposed to be doing. Instead of just cheering on our team and trying to cover up all the wrongdoings, we're supposed to be holding our own teams accountable, and neither side is doing that. And that's how things get so out of control and so out of hand and so evil and misleading. because we lose that. I've long said here on the show that freedom isn't about what you can do. Freedom's about what you're willing to fight for somebody else to be able to do. Because once we make freedom about the me, then they just take it away. So that's why it's important that you fight for other people's freedom, the very people that you disagree with. You have to fight for their right to feel that way or to say those things. Now, it doesn't mean that they have a right to a platform, meaning within your space. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that they have a right to keep hounding you about something that you disagree with. No, it doesn't say that. But they have to have that right to take that stance. Because the moment that we deprive others of that right, we will be deprived of the same. And that's what I see this country moving further and further towards. So, and we're almost there. They've got so many little things put in place. It's insane. And I'm sure you know of the latest DOD directive and all that stuff. And they've had those abilities for a long time. The Patriot Act alone gave them so much power. And then you had that NDAA that Obama signed that allows them to, allows them to kill American citizens. I mean, that's insane. But it allows them to basically scoop you up off the street. They don't have to give you any kind of representation. They don't have to even let anybody know where you're at. And I'm most certainly talking about the indefinite detention. They don't have to nothing. You got no rights. You got nothing. And all they have to do is use one word. Terrorism. That's it. Meanwhile, they themselves are using terrorism on the daily to scare you into who to vote for. It's mind-blowing. I really do think that we need to expand the official definition of terrorism. And I'm not one that likes to do these kind of things. I raised hell when they started calling pressure cooker bombs weapons of mass destruction, because I'm sorry, that's not a weapon of mass destruction. I get it. It makes a big boom, but that's not quite the level. But I knew what they were after. They were trying to get people to lower that bar a little bit to where, okay, a pressure cooker bomb, okay, weapon of mass destruction. And they wanted to just keep lowering that bar. And now what? And I said this back right after the Boston Marathon bombing when they did that. I said this. They're going to lower that bar until they can consider your AR-15 a weapon of mass destruction. And people thought I was nuts when I said that. People thought I was nuts when I said that. And lo and behold, now they're trying to claim that the AR-15, a semi-automatic sporting rifle, is a weapon of mass destruction. Have to be very careful, and you cannot let them change language. But nonetheless, when Obama put that in the NDAA, when he signed off on that, that spoke volumes. They don't have to have any proof. They don't have to have nothing. You know, a lot of people raise hell about January 6th, and rightfully so. That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. You think what's going on with the January 6th defendants is bad? That's nothing. We know about them. We know about them. They don't have to. All they have to use is that word terrorism. Oh yeah, I said I was going to mention about how I think it needs to be expanded on, the word. Or I should say the definition. I think that it needs to include things like propaganda. Because you've got an entire wall of media right now that are running just off the chains with how Trump having a rally at Madison Square Gardens, that's a Nazi thing. And what they're saying, I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched when Trump spoke. I watched when Elon spoke. And I believe the guy before Elon. I didn't watch the whole thing, though. There was nothing. There was nothing that was even close to Nazi-esque about that entire night. But yeah, you've got a wall of media right now that is basically trying to make people feel like the Third Reich is starting to march down their street. And they're doing so with what? A political aim. So they are purposely trying to instill fear, cause phobia. And the fact that they have been doing it nonstop for years, if that's not constituted, that's not, to me, that's abuse. That's a form of abuse. And I absolutely do think that if you sit there and continuously, purposely put out false information to scare people, that should qualify for a terrorism charge. We've got to figure something out. We do have to have a free media. But you've heard many, many times that even though you have the right to freedom of speech, you can't go yelling fire in a crowded theater. And that's true. That's a fact, right? Because then you're causing other problems, which could cause, injury or death. Then you are disturbing the peace. Then you are creating a hazard. So there has to be something in place there. Well, when somebody or an entity or a group of entities, like the mainstream news media, when they continually put out things that have been proven to be false information, but yet they can keep on doing it and keep on doing it. There has to be something in that moment that kicks in and makes people accountable. See, Obama got rid of he repealed the Smith-Monk Act, which would have helped. It wouldn't have fixed this problem. But at least it would have gave us some teeth. But he repealed it. I wonder why. So even though we need to support and encourage a free media, we also need to hold media accountable when they're doing nefarious things, knowingly and willingly doing nefarious things. There's got to be something. Trying to think of anything else. I will be doing this, like I say, at least until a little bit after the election. I'll just slide right back into the old time slot. Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. And, I'm going to be very basic. Very, very basic. for one, I don't have the energy at all. But I do think it's important to cover this stuff. I really do. Trying to think any other updates before I close up for tonight. I don't really know of much. I haven't been up to a whole bunch. Like I said, I haven't been feeling the best with my arms and stuff bothering me, and I don't even really do much as far as playing VTOL VR or playing in the sim. And I'm just not, for the most part, in the mood, which kind of sucks. I have to somehow get the businesses up and going. I have to, because we're sinking, and we are sinking quick. So I need to come up with something a little bit to throw into my my deal here on building websites or doing cut vinyl decals for people. So if you know anybody needs any, I'm hoping Trump gets in, because the reason why I got nothing to do is because we've got a shitty ass government that's grinded everything down to as much of a halt as what they can, and so nobody's in a position to really be expanding. And the type of decals that we make, typically people use in advertising, and so advertising is one of the areas that companies had to really, really cut because of the economic situation. So and then with the economic downturn that we've had, there's not many people starting businesses or building businesses. So as far as building websites for people, that's kind of non-existent too. And I've never been a big person in the game ever. Never wanted to be. I've got my niche, if you will, when it comes to like website building and stuff like that. I don't charge what I should probably charge to build websites. I could easily double, triple, maybe even quadruple what I charge to build a website fairly. But I'm not that way. I just try to be fair. So I don't know that anybody would be in the market right this moment for a website or cut vinyl decals, but maybe in a couple of weeks somebody will be a little more in the mood. But I've got to get something going, because we're sinking. We're able to keep up with bills and stuff like that, but anything beyond that, we don't have anything extra for. A while back I mentioned I didn't even have a pair of socks without holes in them. I'm still in that boat. So it is what it is. I really hope that we can get this country to start turning around. If not, and there's a whole lot of people around this nation that's hurting right now. And we've got an insane amount of money going into illegal immigrants, going to nations across the world to fight their wars. It's surreal when I look at this nation and what's going on. It is absolutely surreal. I don't think that our nation, and this is not hyperbole at all, I really do not think that our nation could survive another 4 more years of the current path. I don't think there's any way possible. To be quite honest, I'm pretty sure that that's on purpose. I don't know. Anyway, that's pretty much all I had. I don't have any news articles are up. I haven't tweeted anything out like news links or anything like that in forever. War News 24/7 is, I guess, a thing of the past. I guess they're no more. They didn't, to my knowledge, didn't say anything or anything. They just quit posting news, and then all of a sudden the website came up that the host account's been suspended. So I don't know. I know the Watchman News. I've got a little less than 60 days now. Might be 30 days, I guess. That the domain comes due. Don't know how I'm going to pay that. I've got web hosting that's going to be coming due. Don't know how to pay that. So I may lose the domain, may lose the website altogether. Is what it is. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm wore out. Yeah, I want to keep the website. Yeah, I want to keep the domain and all that. But I'm tired of fighting and clawing to have even less than the bare minimum. And I'm not gonna do it anymore. Not gonna do it. I'm too wore out. Too wore out. In the back of my head, I keep remembering what I was told when I was in the hospital for my appendix. And before they knew it was my appendix, when they were still trying to figure out what was wrong with me, they knew my organs were shutting down and stuff like that. And they were pumping me with painkiller. And come to find out, they didn't think I stood a chance. And what they were doing was just trying to make me comfortable on my way out. When I was told about that, that stuck. And that's kind of how I feel today. I'm exhausted, and I just want to be comfortable on my way out. I'm at that point. So, but until that time comes, I'm going to do what I can for the Father. Hopefully, provide good information for you and direction. I think there were a lot of lessons learned from Hurricane Helene. Hopefully, a lot of people picked up on the fact that it's not gonna be Mad Max crazy. Maybe in New York City, don't be in New York City. But in places like this, in places like where many of you are, there's gonna be a hell of a lot more people trying to help people. And yes, there is going to become a time to where things are going to get ugly. But it's not going to be a day one Mad Max. And it's not going to be an everyday non-stop battle. You're going to be spending a lot more time trying to keep yourself and others going than what you're going to be fighting. And like I've said many, many times, try to be prepared for that. Everybody wants to go out and buy the weapons and the body armor and all that stuff because it's cool and look at me. I'm afraid that a lot of people are going to find that they shortchange themselves and those around them when that time comes. Can't eat bullets. Can't eat bullets. It's important that you have them, don't get me wrong. But I think there's far too much focus put on that. And far too little focus on what we can do to get ourselves out of the situation. Which is going to take many hands for many reasons. Not saying we should prep to feed everybody, because we can't do that. But feeding people is only one way of helping somebody. Well, I should say, and feeding what? Food? Yeah, that might be hard to do, but you can feed people knowledge. That doesn't cost. We've got a spider on the on the security camera. Giant spiders taking over the town. Anyway. Just be prepared for it not being Mad Max. Because I think that's really going to be what throws a lot of people off. You're going to see a lot of people working together. You know, you're going to see violence. There's no doubt of that. But I think it's going to be much further between, few and far between, than what people think. Anyway, I'm going to slink on out of here. I'm just tired. Just tired. What, did we go to bed last night? I don't even know if it was 8 o'clock. I was just so exhausted. Went to bed, got up 6, didn't want to get up at 6. I wanted to lay in bed. Got up, and I turned around and dozed off in my chair for a little while. This afternoon. Not doing so hot, folks. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, and God willing, we will be back tomorrow, and we'll see what's new. So I hope everybody has a good night. Shalom.